Can you hear me?
Okay, I actually shut myself down.
Oh.
Just hold on.
Can you see anything?
So you couldn't. Just hold on a second. My ego's in the way.
Your hair looks lovely.
I can't control it. It's just this. Can't control it. It's just like a woman.
Cut it all off. Shave it all off.
Sorry.
You're like a monk.
No, that's more like a monkey. No, it's America is hell bent on people being militaristic and with their head shaved clean.
Right.
So I've had an overdose of that. Thank you.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you around here. Obviously, here I am. You can see what I'm showing you, can't you? See the sofa?
Yeah. If
Right.
you can I just suggest something?
Yeah.
If you turn your
Sideways.
cell phone sideways,
See more.
there you go.
That's
Yeah.
better. Yeah. You can see the little picture here. Can't make that little picture any bigger, can I?
Come closer. Go closer to it. Oh no! Oh, I don't know if you can
Look at that
actually.
little picture on my phone.
Oh, touch on it and see what it does. It should give you options.
There you go. That's made you small and that big. Now I can see what I'm doing now.
Okay, good.
Right, so this is my
You
shed.
mustn't make me too small because I feel really bad.
No, it's all right. I'll make you big soon.
No, it doesn't matter. It's better that you see what you're doing. So this is
my shed on the allotment. It's the little house on the ferry.
Oh,
Got
okay.
my kitchen is here.
Oh, wow. Do you get abandoned into the back room or?
I choose to be isolate myself. This is my little shed. There's my herbs, my little herb flower thing. Got
Nice.
herbs up here. I've got herbs growing over here. Got sage. And what's that other thing I've got in there? I've got some rosemary here, and I've got some oregano. That's all
Nice.
drying now. That's chives drying. I mean, not chives, coriander. I'm waiting for that to dry so I can harvest the seeds off it. So that's that. And then I've got all my little Monet calendar pictures up. And this is my certificate I got
For
being a master herbalist.
Oh, nice.
The master herbalist. And this is my little washing up area. So
Nice.
I've got like a shower thing that I've hung up there, various places, like a shower,
Mhm.
a sort of a camping shower, and it's got like a little spout, and I can turn it on and off, and that's my little kitchen thing. And this is the clay that I've got.
Okay.
Hang on, I've got bloody thing. So that's the clay powder that I bought. So what I was thinking actually what I could do is I could make so that I can get quite a lot of seeds into one sort of like thing. I thought about making them into kind of coils rather than balls, because then the seed will spread more than they will as a ball, because otherwise when it dissolves into the ground, they'll all be clumped up into one thing. So I thought maybe what we could do is make them into like little sort of thin sausages, and then coil them up, and then people can uncoil them or break them into pieces and throw them around.
That's an idea, but one of the I mean, I can actually give you links to. Actually, if you just go online and you put the guy Masanobu Fukuoka and the One Straw Revolution, you'll see where he's traveled to different places around the world, and they actually show you the technique in one of the videos. I'm not sure which one, but do some research on that. It's basically you wet the seed, just lightly. Don't soak it. Just wet it, and then put your clay in a tray, and you just shake the tray, and as they roll, they catch the
Oh, okay,
root.
that's an idea. Yeah. So each individual seed, or
You
all
can
the
do you can do it as individual seeds, or you can take um, uh, different clumps of like your three sisters, and you
yeah.
put them all together in one ball, and then boom, chuck it.
Cool. Send me the guy's name so I can look him up, and then I'll read up about it.
I said what his name, and you just about had a heart attack.
I
It's
know.
Masanobu
Don't even tell me
Fukuoka.
again. Send me the link on. So
Okay.
there's me in the mirror.
Right. You must get out of that mirror, you could get stuck in it.
This is my little dressing kind of table place. Can you
Nice.
see? Well, actually, what I do is I use it for, it's like a little bureau, and then I use it to keep my seeds and stuff.
That what? I missed that last part.
I've got shelves underneath there, and I use that to keep all my seeds in. Little kind of seedy folder thing. You can see all my seeds here.
Nice.
This is all my bought seeds. I've got all of these. I see here. Up here, I've got those gem squash seeds that I've saved from previous gem squashes. So various lots of seeds that I saved as well. That's dill and so on. And then here is my library. So I've got all different kind of growing books inside as well.
Telling you, there's two books that should be on that shelf.
Yeah.
And the one is the One Straw Revolution. That's like it's fundamentally important. And then there is um, the book by Jeff, not by Jeff Lawton, by the originator of permaculture, Bill Mollison, and it's like the Bible of permaculture. Really, an incredible book. And in actual fact, if you are willing to pay for it,
Yeah.
I've got a full course on permaculture, but it's a terabyte drive. You've got to have that size drive to transfer it onto, and it's done by Jeff Lawton. It's
Okay.
amazing stuff. It'll blow your mind. You would love it, I promise you.
Okay.
Then
Yeah.
of course, I've got another course that maybe you want to look at. It's a series of seminars and so on. It's a course done in Midwest permaculture, which would be similar to the stuff that you're doing. Anyway,
I found
okay,
it. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, your climate, yeah. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
carry on. So your books.
This is a really interesting book. I'll show you. It's called The Organic Artist.
Oh, nice.
So it's how to make your own paint, paper, pigments, prints, and more from nature. So
Wow,
it's really, really interesting. I got it from Amazon. Well, actually, Phil bought it for my birthday from Amazon. So
nice,
yeah, how to make bamboo pens and inks and things like that. How to make
nice.
pigment ink and so on. So I'm going to get into doing things like that as well. You know.
Just another thing, just before you step out and go
Yeah.
any further. Um, the um, the the things that I've been doing lately is I've got some apps on the phone, and I don't know, my phone looks like it's going to die now, so I'm pretty upset about that. But
Yeah.
it's calling the day on me. But I've got these apps. The one is identifying mushrooms, which I haven't used, but the one that I have used quite a lot is identifying different plant species.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think it's called Picture This,
Yeah.
or and then there's another one called Picture Mushroom, and then Candida. I don't know, or Candida, Candida.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
just some apps which helps with identifying different plants. Like when you going and the thing for me is what do they call it when you go out and you just walk around and you foraging. It's called foraging. It's
Yeah.
it's an amazing thing. I did a course on it at some
Yeah,
stage, but so
yeah. No, I'm all into that kind of thing. I mean, I'm really into anything to do with nature and life, soils and permaculture, and anything to do with growing and planting and self-sufficiency and anything like that. I mean, you can see how I've set this up. I mean, this to me I mean, I don't have any electricity here. I've got gas. I've got two little gas burners here.
yeah.
I've got water, but I don't have it on tap kind of thing in my allotment. I have to go outside and stick a hose pipe into the standpipe outside my allotment. So,
But
but it's
you
close.
could go to the next stage and actually have gravitation like run off from your roof and whatever, and
I'll do that you next. So
huh?
I'll share that you next. Okay, so
Okay.
here outside I've got like normal washing area. Can you see that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Much
That's
light
great.
shine. Then up here I've got also another camp shower, but that's what I use for washing my vegetables in, and
Nice.
then draining. I just drain them in there. And then I've also got that basket which I can like put a lot of stuff in and just wash it through the holes, in the basket. So I'd rather do that than take it home for it. So here I've got, see, I can't really see the stuff. The sun's like shining on my things, but I'm just going to try and do the best I can. So that there is my that is my guttering that I've got off the roof. And
Nice.
that drops down into this butt here.
Oh, nice.
And then on the other side, this is my tool shed. So I've got all my tools, my lawnmower and everything here.
Nice.
And then here, let me show you my sunflower that I did. I painted on my shed door.
Oh, nice. That looks cool. Looks
There's
real.
my sunflower, and I did this one as well.
Oh, cool.
So that's just on pallet wood, and then I just stuck it part of my shed. This is a
Nice.
standard 10 by 8 shed.
You see what I was saying about color adding emotion and feeling?
Yeah.
When you look at that, does it make you happy?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love
See?
it. So this is outside my shed roof, and I don't have any guttering,
Uh-huh.
but it runs off like in sheets into this butt here.
Nice.
So yeah, so this is all my bamboo. This stuff.
Wow. That
My
grows
back.
like wildfire.
I mean, just in front of the bamboo. So I'll come out my shed here. I'll come
Okay.
out my shed here, and then walk here. That's my
Try and
apple
keep
tree.
your movements slow. All right.
That's my apple tree.
Nice.
There. That's my bamboo. This side is my that's St. John's wort,
Mm-hmm.
and then I've just got some like plants around that sort of tree stump there,
Mm-hmm.
and then
What
on
happened
this
to the
side,
tree stump? I don't know.
and then on this side, this is where I've got all my some of my herbs grown here. So I've got rosemary, oregano, lemon balm, thyme down here. I've got feverfew. I've got another little apple tree at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got strawberries in here. I've got loads of strawberries in pots down there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to walk around this side here. This is my little path. And then on the left here is my pond. There's quite a fishes. I've got fishes in this pond. Can you see
I can
them?
see them. Yeah.
They're looking for food. I haven't fed them yet today. That's my little pond. And then on this side This is my like little bamboo place made. So here's my little hedgehog hide,
Is there a hedgehog?
and then I'm hoping I'm going to get a hedgehog.
Okay.
I'm not yet. So inside my bamboo enclosure, this is my little hideaway. I've got bird feeders, and then it's like a little bamboo enclosure. You see, I'm going to put it in my shed. I'm getting a shed on Saturday. I'm getting it free. I'm
Oh,
going to
wow.
put it
You're going to put it?
there. Can you see those 4 pieces
Oh,
of
yeah.
slab? It's only a little one, 6x4, but I'm going to use it as like a little bathroom. Like I'm going to have my shower. Instead of having that outside shower, I'll show it to you in a minute. I'm going to have it in the shed in here. But it's cool, this little space, eh?
Nice.
Nice little. And this is my table that I painted with sunflower.
Nice.
Did that as well. Right, up we go. And then this here is like the outside sitting area kind of thing. I've got loads of wood because I was going to make my own shed, but I got one wood, so I don't have to. And then I've got like a seat swing over there, but I need a new seat for it. Like a picnic table. This is kind of like the little outside area. So here's I've got a plum tree here.
Wow.
You saw the plum.
I can't really see them because you're moving too quickly there. You need to focus. Oh, wow.
They're not ripe yet. They're still, but that I've got a full entire tree of those.
Wow.
And then over here I've got a small apple tree. That's an apple tree.
Hold it still. Wow. How old is that?
Eh?
How old?
What, that tree?
Mm-hmm.
That's a fairly young tree. That one that I showed you just earlier, that one in the corner, but just outside my shed, that's an old tree. But that's got that has some beautiful apples on it, but it's starting to get a bit old for its own good now. I think it's just about on the floor. Then I've got a Bramley apple tree here. Mexican. Can you see it?
Yeah.
And then all along the edge of my path, I've grown lavender all along the edge of my path, you know. Got some more bamboo. What I'm trying to try and do is, can you see I've got like more bamboo coming up here?
Mm-hmm.
I want to try and make more of a kind of like entrance way into my little alcove at the back there where the bird feeders are. That's what I'm trying to do now with the bamboo.
Nice.
And then here, I've got just some seeds coming up. I've just got some seeds growing here. So I've got some more beans. And I've got some fennel there. And some lettuce. And then this is my polytunnel. I can't actually see what I'm showing you really because the screen has gone black. I think I need to turn the brightness up or something. Can you see?
No,
Just tell me if you can't see. Just tell me if you can't, if I'm not showing you properly.
No, just when you're focusing on something, just try and stand still, because it's the changing that people battle to focus on. When it's just constantly changing, it becomes like no. Okay, so yeah.
So I'll just go a little bit further, but I'll see if I've got
Just call. Tell me what the different things are.
Okay. So basically, in here, I mostly have tomatoes and peppers. So obviously, I'll just get a close up on my tomatoes here. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
This is a variety called Outdoor Girl.
Okay.
I'm hoping that I can get a nice crop. Well, I am getting quite a nice crop here actually. There's a couple of ones. I've had a few off so far, but not too many. But mostly.
How long from planting?
Well, I normally plant them. Well, I start them off in about the end of March, beginning of April. in modular trays, and then put them into the actual ground in the tunnel, probably end of May. So because they don't do anything. This time of year they just start to take off. So here's a nice ripe one down here. Ones that are starting to ripen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just an interesting thing. Oh wow. Is Rowan and I go for these long walks, and then there's like these wild cherry tomatoes, tiny
Oh
little
yeah.
ones, but like just so many of them. And so then we have a thing that we do is like eat one, toss two, type
Yeah.
thing.
No, no. Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, so many seeds in one tomato. You could plant up this whole entire greenhouse with one tomato.
Yeah.
And basically, I've not got much in the summertime. I don't have much in here other than peppers and tomatoes because you've got to grow everything you can grow outside, and what you can't grow outside, grow inside. There's my pepper. I've got lots of those sort of spotted around. You can see it's got a little flowerings already.
Okay.
So that's just that's either a bell pepper or a pointed pepper. I'm not sure. I've just got it spotted around it. But I've got getting up. You can see I've been getting quite a lot of tomatoes off by the looks of it.
It seems very dry. Have you watered it recently?
I wasn't here yesterday, and I haven't watered it today, so we'll get a water today. I normally water it every second day.
Oh, okay.
But you've got to be very careful you don't overwater, because if you overwater, especially in the tunnel, you end up with a lot of mildews and molds and things starting to develop. So I tend to let everything dry out completely and then water.
Oh,
And
wow.
I tend to in the evening, otherwise in this country you've got such a massive slug problem that you've got to be careful the time of day you water. So I tend to water sort of like, well, because it only gets dark here at this time of year about 9 o'clock. So if I water at about 4 or 5, it's enough time for the leaves and everything sort of dry off the surface because if you don't and the slugs come out, they love damp, moist conditions.
Oh, wow.
So that's that. And then let's go this way. This plant here is the tarragon. As you can
What's
see,
it
I've
called?
got
What's it called?
tarragon.
Tarragon with a T?
With a T, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then along there, you can see all the strawberries. That whole length of strawberries.
Wow, they're growing well, eh?
I'm digging them up this year. I'm not having them there anymore.
Why?
Just because you get such a short cropping time. They
Right.
crop for about 2 weeks and that's it. And then, because I need the space. I've got other things I want to plant. I don't want 2 weeks of strawberries and that's it. So where I showed you, I've got my other strawberries up at the top, outside the shed. Leave those, okay, and maybe put a few more in there. But I'm not having that row of strawberries. I need the space for something else. And then this purple raised bed here. Purple raised bed here. In here, this is my nursery bed. So I use this for growing outdoor crops that I can plant. So here, this here is leeks. So I wait for them to get about pencil thick, and then I'll plant them out into a more permanent bed.
And those are marigolds or what?
I've got some nasturtiums.
Nasturtiums.
And then I've got some calendula behind that. There's these plants here.
At the back.
That's calendula. So I'll show you what those look like in a minute. And then here I've got some savoy cabbage.
Okay.
And I need some more. I haven't got enough of those. I've got a few spotted around the allotment, but not too many of those. I need more cabbage. A few onions still growing here, but most of them are harvested.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some in here. I've got some. I'm not sure actually. There should be a tag here.
Creepers, they look like your um, what what are they called? Strawberries in
These
front of
are
you.
strawberries here. Yeah, I've got strawberries here.
Uh-huh.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the strawberries. So you guys see I've got strawberries growing in between
Uh-huh.
this, which is I think this is Brussels sprouts. I think
Yeah,
this is
you know what I love is kale, and
kale. Yeah.
I they've supposedly so many different species,
Oh
but
yeah,
the ones I was showing you like yesterday or the day before, out in
yeah.
the I've been eating them since yesterday when I started eating again,
Oh yeah.
and I absolutely love them. They're just absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. They're succulent, they're juicy, and they're
What
young.
kale? Kale leaves.
Yeah, when they're young, uh,
Yeah. I'll
there's
show
a
you a
lot.
variety. Show you the variety that I've been growing the last couple of years because you can get a curly kale as well, which is fun.
No, that one's good for smoothies, but it's really not so easy to eat. The curly
Right.
one.
Yeah. So I've got here. I've got. Can you see what the whole entire row here?
Hmm.
Got two rows covered in netting.
And that's for bugs.
No, that's to keep pigeons off. That's my peas.
Ah, so that's what they
So
call pigeon peas
just
because the pigeons
pigeons.
eat them.
Like we get pigeons here, you get monkeys there. Pigeons eat everything. So you've got to any brassicas or anything like peas, you need to cover. There's my peas.
Wow.
So there's just I've had about 5 kilograms of peas off of these plants already.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
a lot.
it's a lot. And here I've got along center
Some sort
here
of pumpkin type thing or squash or what?
are my I've got mixture of courgettes and pattypan squash and Cape gooseberries. These are my Cape gooseberries. This is an experiment because I have never grown them outside before, but look how well they're doing. A
They
little
seem to
flower
be
on
doing
them.
well.
They're growing Cape
Nice.
Town. They're from Cape Town.
Wow.
So it's the most delicious fruit. Absolutely lovely. It's almost like a mixture of between custard and normal gooseberry. Got
Wow.
such a flavour. They make such nice jam.
When you do get some seeds from the various things that you find really good, it'd be nice to send us just a few.
Yeah, we'll do. And here I've got a lot. I just noticed this now. I've got a patty pan squash coming off.
Oh, wow. Nice. Love those.
Go yellow. What happens is those go yellow and then they're ready. So
Yeah, I love them in salads just to.
I've had
They,
3 courgettes. It's still early in the season. I don't normally hear the courgette growing here.
okay, cool.
It's still a baby. I've got a couple of babies here.
Nice.
There's some more patty pans developing.
Love it.
So yeah, they're doing well. Small, some nice flowers. Some more plants developing there. There you can see how I've done my whole allotment. I've made it so bee friendly and so insect friendly that I get so
Uh-huh.
many
With
pollinators. I
flowers,
never had a problem with my plants with pollinators.
pollination.
So yeah, so I've just sort of spotted in between. I've spotted the Cape gooseberries. There's another one at the end there,
Hmm.
and then at various points in between, I've got an artichoke at the end there. I had more artichokes. I've pulled them out. So this is the last one. This is actually a didn't really want him here, but he's decided he's going to grow.
Cool.
And then that's beaver view.
It's pretty.
And
Just that picture is pretty.
yeah, and then I've got some. That is fennel.
Hmm.
But
The
what I'm doing,
tall, the tall one.
that's just transplants. I'm leaving them for seed. I want seed off that. So
Okay.
that's fine. Then another St. John's wort, some more oregano, and then some tomatoes over there.
Mhm.
You see the tomatoes?
Got them.
They lots of flowers, but not much fruit to you. You can see the difference between having them outside and in the tunnel.
Here's a
So
question. Do you think that
uh,
stick is enough in the middle to hold them and support them?
what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to actually, I should have done it before now, but I'm going to weave string in between the bamboo sticks.
Okay, create a trellis.
As they grow up, I'll just continue to string it
Mhm.
up and up and up and up. But I don't think this variety is going to grow very high. This is also outdoor girl. So, but I'm quite pleased that they're doing quite well outside. You see, the problem with the UK is that you can grow tomatoes outside. It's fine, and they'll grow, and you'll get tomatoes popping on the plants. But most varieties won't ripen, so you'll
Oh,
just end up with copious amounts of green tomatoes.
you know the Indians are really good with pickling green whatever green
I know.
mangoes and whatever and all that sort of thing. So maybe it's a thing to look at.
The problem with green tomatoes is like eating a green potato. It's apparently not very good for you.
Oh wow.
The
You
toxic.
don't think the pickling
Tomato
is
leaves,
hey?
you know that tomato leaves are extremely toxic.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, tomato leaves are extremely toxic. So are potato leaves. And if you grow potatoes and you know how they go to seed, that round ball, that green round ball that develops after the flower dies,
Yeah.
that could kill you.
Wow.
That is a nightshade. So your nightshades that are extremely toxic, except for the fruit when ripe, are your tomatoes, your aubergines, or brinjal as you call them there,
Mhm.
and potato.
Wow. They call something else in America as well. We don't call them brinjals or aubergines in America. It's called
Eggplant.
eggplant, I think. Yeah, could be
Yeah.
it.
They're come in various names, but it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll move on over here. So I've got, as you can see, I've got a water butt spotted around. So here's another water butt. It's full of water at the moment. With a nice
You
block.
know, something that I learned, well, was often done in plots around America is they would basically have two or three big containers for water, all right, like
Yeah,
big tanks on the
yeah,
one side of the property, and then they would have like a thick hose,
yeah,
you know, that plastic conduit type thing,
yeah,
and maybe a pump if it depends on the situation. If it's flat land, it's not a problem.
yeah,
And then from that thick hose, they would have a whole lot of smaller hoses running down the aisles, and
yeah.
then from that they would have these different ways of doing it, but these little drip feeder sprinkler pipes um, going, or they would have first of all like um, along each one of the rows they would have these snaked drip feeder pipes going all the way back like this, and at each
Like,
place they needed yes like snaked hoses that are small size with little drip feeders coming out to wherever they wanted the water to go. And so then what they'd do is they'd let the water stand to get all of the stuff out of the water, like chlorine and all that. And then they would add nutrients to that and then sprinkle it on the whole garden so you didn't have to water that often. It would water itself. But I don't know if you have a watering problem in Britain because
no,
it
we
rains so
don't have
often.
a water problem here. Um, it rains often enough that you don't need to use actual stored water for,
For
you
watering.
know, very often. You do get, we have had a couple of years. I mean, we had a couple of weeks, a couple of months ago. When was it? End of March, April. We had a really, really, really dry spell.
Hmm.
So we had to water for about 2 weeks. There was no rain. But generally speaking, we get enough rain here, so it's not really viable for me to go to all the expense and trouble of laying down safe hoses and that sort
Okay.
of thing. I've got enough. I mean, I've got a water tap just outside my allotment,
Okay.
if I
Don't let me.
need it. But
Yeah. Don't let me interrupt. I'm sorry. I keep on interrupting. Just carry on where
okay.
you left off with your story.
So yeah, I'm just growing some flowers. Can you see the flowers in the very front?
Uh huh.
They're just starting to bloom now.
Nice.
So I've got some aster. They're asters though. Asters and something else. I don't know what else I've got there. To be honest, I'm not really into flowers, but I thought it would be nice to have some flowers that I could cut. So that's what that is. This
Uh,
is what I was talking about. So you know what I've got in my nursery bed? It's a it's like it is a from the Mary calendula, but that's a
nice.
herb. That's edible.
Nice. The flower or the leaves?
The whole thing.
The
But
whole
you
thing.
would no one would really. I mean, it's not something that you would eat. I mean, that's is I keep it more on my plot for to attract insects and bees and whatnot. You know, it's good for that. Oh yeah, and also on the outside of the tunnel here, I've got chives growing,
Nice.
and on the other side as well. And that is also for mainly for to attract pollinators.
It's actually just an interesting concept. When I was young, we used to grow where we had a dripping tap. We would grow a lot of parsley and
Yeah,
mint and all those things.
yeah,
So maybe just next to that, where you've got the chives, maybe because the water runoff would be a lot from the plastic, you might
yeah.
find it they do well there. Anyway, Karen.
I've got quite a lot of mint in my tunnel. I've got mint in my tunnel. I've got parsley everywhere on this plot.
Oh, okay,
You know, you must remember that we live in a very wet climate,
okay,
generally.
okay.
So it pretty much grows wherever. You don't need to spend much time watering, really, especially stuff on. Yeah, obviously I've got to water inside the tunnel regularly, but
But
outside you don't.
what about watercress and all that sort of water type
No,
species?
I tend to grow more things that we kind of will eat, and
Okay,
I don't think I'd eat much watercress. I'm not really like a watercress fan. It's very sort of sharp, strong, and it's not really for me. So here
yeah,
I've got some kale. Yeah,
nice.
that's the
Now
dog.
that's I like the dark leaf kale as well. And
Yeah,
when it's young as well, that you can just eat it as it is, just like the one that I have with the big leaves, like um, um, also delicious. But that one, I love that. In
yeah.
America, what
But
they would
this new
actually
something, right?
you pick the lower leaves and you just let the rest grow, and it just keeps on
Yeah,
growing and growing, and you just keep taking the lower leaves.
yeah. Well, you see, the thing about the lower leaves is they tend to get flied and eaten. So I just pick those off actually. It's quite weeded here. I mean, I need to come and weed this up a bit. But from there, like from there, that's a nice leaf there.
Yeah, just
I
those
take
one
that. Yeah, start taking them as they grow up. They just maintain. They keep because they grow from the center. Look, there's the center.
exactly.
They just grow up from the center. So you just keep harvesting these outer leaves here.
Yeah.
And then in the center here, I've got some turnips. Here's one.
Okay.
I'll pull one out so you can see what they like. It's a turnip.
Wow, that looks great turned up.
Yeah. So they've grown well.
Wow.
And then on the far side, I've got some broccoli. I think starting to shoot now. Let's go under the net.
I can't
You
see.
see it?
No, what are you pointing at? You're pointing at the shed.
Uh, Hold on, let me just take this charger out here. Charge my phone. So that I'll be able to see better what I'm doing. Right. So
Okay.
can you see it
That's a
now?
broccoli head, yeah?
Yeah, that, that well. I'm not sure whether that's calabrese or broccoli. If it's calabrese, it just shoots, makes small shoots.
Oh, okay.
Broccoli, it'll form a bigger head and maybe some side shoots, but whichever. I mean, it all gets broken
Yeah,
up,
whatever. That
you
makes
know.
sense.
Right, so that's that bed. And then the front of this side, I've got just sort of some ornamental, really, because it's very shaded here. So I just plant sort of shade type things. I've got another pot of compost in it. And there's my
But
side.
you're composting, okay. 100% organic. I like that.
Everything is like, yeah. So back here, I've got some beetroot. Can you see through the netting?
Yeah, I can see the beetroot with the
Right.
sort of leaves at the stems on the leaves
Yeah,
are dark
got
red.
got beetroot going along the back of this bed. In the front, just in front of that, I've got some carrots.
Okay. And a
Lettuce is
lettuce there.
I've got a couple of lettuces. There's like pigs off of this front one here.
Wow, it looks delicious.
Yeah,
My mouth. I'm salivating
yeah,
looking at that.
I know, it's lovely. It's beautiful. That's it. It's I bought a packet of seed that was like headed. It was called headed mix.
Hmm.
So it gave different varieties of lettuces. So most of it actually had to compost because you couldn't eat it all. So it was starting to go to seed. So I thought, no, I'm going to get rid. So those are the two that I've got left. And then
Wow,
along the front there, I've got some leeks.
nice.
The back here, I'll show you the sign. This is Bella's Pod.
Nice.
Here I've got some wild strawberries and alpine strawberries.
Nice.
Grow a little strawberry on them. Just can find. They just grow like a little flower like that, and then that's quite a small one. But
Okay.
they have some of these are absolutely delicious. There's some bigger ones. I've got a few of those in the tunnel as well. They're much bigger in the tunnel. But those seem to crop all year. I've got quite a
Nice.
few of those. And then that's Bella's Pond.
Oh,
Nothing can survive in there, nothing lives in there because Bella gets the crust.
what? Who's so Bella just goes and jumps in there?
Yeah, that's her pond. She just goes, that's supposed to be my wildlife pond, but now she thinks it's her pond. So that's it. Nothing I can do. I need to clear it out. It's quite murky and horrible looking. Over there, I've got some.
Actually, you might find that that green slime on top, if you put that into your composting mix, you might find it actually helps there with the biodegrading of the
Oh, I
compost.
do. Everything that comes off the allotment that gets composted. Absolutely everything. But that's not a slime. That's a plant. It looks slimy.
Oh, okay, cool.
But
Okay.
I think there's a bit of slime clinging over the top there at the minute. I think I need to put my hose pipe in there and just try and squish it round a bit. It's got a lot of white. But that's fine. If I've got an infestation of something in my pond or wherever, I just leave it to nature to sort out.
Yeah, eventually it establishes balances, it naturally
Yeah,
does.
absolutely. I never spray anything with anything. Not even like what this is so-called organic, because that still is set to unbalance. Like garlic sprays and things like that. I don't bother with that. I can't remember what this is called. Look, there's an idea. These love this. Comfrey, that's what it is. There's a
Comfrey.
comfrey.
Well, comfrey is supposed to be, I don't know if it's this particular species, but it's supposed to be incredible ground cover to prevent sort of, I don't know, grass and reeds and weeds and everything.
It's
They,
fantastic.
they,
It's all sorts of things. I mean, it's a fantastic herb as well if you read into it. But its main use, and the reason why I grow it on the allotment, I've got some here and I've got some back in my herb bed, is because it's fantastic for compost. You add that to your compost. You can't. I just pull loads of it out. Like when it starts to kind of like go over, like here,
Hmm.
that bit there. I just literally just pull it out.
So
This,
is that a nitrogen fixing plant or?
no, it's not nitrogen fixing. It just is really good for the compost. It's so full of nutrients and
Nutrient
just
dense, huh?
yeah, and it just makes such great compost. See, I've got
Great.
some mint here.
Okay, cool.
I grew some mint around my pond. Here, I'll sit down here because I'll show you. This is all my mostly what you can see here, potatoes. So
Just
here,
tell me what it is when you look at it. Otherwise, people will not know what it is.
you're not allowed sharing.
That's the purpose of this. Do you know how
No,
priceless this
no.
is?
If you want me to do one, I'll have to do it for that. I'll have to do a separate one.
This is perfect when two people are just talking and it's just this
No,
incredible journey. But
no,
it's for me. Okay, for me first of all. What? Tell me what every plant is.
right. Okay, I'm telling
That's a,
you now
that looks
because
like a me. That looks
you're
like
not
a
allowed.
me.
This is copyright protected.
That looks
You're
like a
not allowed
mealy
to share those.
corn. That's something
Yeah,
thorny.
yeah. This is. I've got some leeks growing here as well. Can you see? I'm trying to
Okay.
grow them in between my potatoes.
Okay. So are they companion plants, leeks and potatoes?
Well, I'm just, a lot of what I do here is I just experiment with. I grow different things with different other things. And now, for instance, this bed, the very back, I've got a row of potatoes,
Okay.
which is, I think this is the main crop, or it might be a second early. Let me just check. I think I might have some Charlottes or some Morfona potatoes in the back. Yes. And then in front of that, I've got um, I've got some leeks. I've got leeks growing. They seem to be growing all right, so they must be okay with each other.
Hmm.
And then I've got Chinese lantern, which is a flower. I'll just put it here because for lack of anywhere else to put it really.
Okay.
But it seems to be doing okay. It's not doing great, but it's not doing great anywhere else either. So,
Okay.
and then here I have another flower I'm trying to get established, and yeah, it's called Helianthemum mutabile.
Hmm.
So that's what that is. That one there. I'm just trying to get that established so I can spot those around the allotment. They're beautiful. The flowers are beautiful. I'm not really into flowers and things like that, but I thought this year what I was going to do is going to try for a few different things, flowers wise. And then in the front, I've got some more pet gooseberry. And here, I've got some more lettuce. This is where it's wonder.
Phew, they look amazing.
I can't walk.
Wow.
But you've got to be careful with lettuce because if you eat them too long, they're just going to see them and they're so bitter you can't eat them. But they're about as far as I like to go with them because then I pick them like that and they're really nice and sweet. And then I've had onion. So in the front of on each one of these rows here, except for the very back row, I just planted one row of potatoes at the back of each of the beds. I've got
Okay.
3 beds here with paths in between. And at the front of the potatoes, I grew onions, which I've now harvested.
Oh wow.
So, except for this bed, so this is how I grew them. Let's try to navigate past these potatoes. So, here's my onions
Wow.
growing in front
My
of my.
my question is, all of this produce, is it not too much for you as a family, or is it enough
Oh,
to keep you through the season, or what?
more than enough. And the thing was, when I first got this allotment, I was supposed to be sharing with Lance and Penny, But because we've like fallen out now, we don't talk to each other. I mean, I've got all this stuff, but nothing I can really do other than, I mean, we eat what we can, obviously, and we have a really, really good vegetable diet, as you can imagine.
Wow.
Do you freeze a lot, like peas? I mean, you can leave you can put peas and freeze them, leave them in the freezer for over a year. You know, they freeze really well. Carrots freeze really well. Lots of things freeze really well. So you can do that. Corn, not so much. So I tend to. Can you see my corn there?
You
That's my
can
main.
dry corn out.
Huh?
Corn is better for drying than for freezing.
Yeah, definitely. So, but my corn's doing well. Can you see how close I've planted to each other?
Yeah. It
I've
goes against all of the
against all laws imaginable. So this is a complete experiment. Can you see how well it's doing?
Oh,
Now bear in mind that I planted that corn at the same time that I planted this corn in this bed. Look at the difference.
wow.
This
What
corn is
do you
smart, and this corn is just absolutely going mad. It's as though it's competing against each other for the height, you know, to grow first. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's got its own mind, whereas this one here is couldn't be bothered to grow because it's got all the space it needs and all the nutrients it needs. But this one here,
is
how mad
fighting
is
to
that?
survive?
Look at
Yeah.
the ones in the middle. Look at the ones in the middle. They are the tallest. Now you'd think that if it was a space issue, the ones around the outside would do better than the ones in the middle. But look at the ones in the middle.
Wow.
Look how much better they are than the ones at the side. So that's experiment has worked. So my theory about that is that if you plant stuff, together you plant stuff, so long as your soil is giving enough nutrient to the plants, those plants will compete for space and they'll compete on height. So they'll compete on nutrients in the soil as well. So you'll get really good growth.
I see you had pumpkins at the bottom of one of these plants.
Yeah. So around the
But
bottom of these,
but did you put in green beans?
oh yeah, on this side, yeah. So there's some more oregano that's obviously attracting pollinators. You can see all the bees around it. Look, bees everywhere around this. Yeah, so around the side here, I've got some French beans growing up. Can you see it?
Because those are nitrogen fixing, and that aids their growth. So if that's around the big cluster, that could be a big factor. And those are the three
No,
sisters.
it's not. Only on the edge of the cluster, and if you can see, it's definitely the ones in the middle that are doing better. Because I think what they're saying is that if plants speak to you, they'd say, do you know what? We're really having to grow really well here in the middle because we've got to compete with this tight space.
Yeah.
And all around the edge of it, I've grown celery.
Celery. Okay.
So that's there is celery.
Nice.
So, doing quite well actually. Keep picking off the outside bits.
I love celery. I had some the other day. I made
love food.
hummus,
Yeah.
which is chickpeas and tahini and what else? Chickpeas, tahini, pine nut seeds,
Yeah.
and olive oil and so on. And then you take that and you literally and garlic and a few other things, but you dip it in and you coat it with this tahini, with this hummus, and it's delicious. You just
I know, I love it. Yeah. So here I've got all my butternut squashes growing.
nice.
Starting to really develop well. They had a bit of a late start. We've not had very good weather here this year, so it's been very cold and very loads of rain, but very cold. And I've I held off planting them out until sort of about 10th of July. June. Oh, we were looking for June.
Is
Yeah,
that
about halfway through June, possibly even the end of June. Where are we now? We're in July now, aren't
the seventh month?
we? Yeah, what's the date today?
It
Yeah, would it
is.
be in
It's
June?
the 23rd of the 7th, so it's July the
So,
23rd.
yeah, it would have been the end of June that I planted the, or towards the end of June that I planted these out because we just had such bad weather. But they all, the thing is with plants is you get to a certain point in the year, and it doesn't matter when you put them out before, they'll all suddenly just start to grow. So they're just so weather sensitive that as
Sensitive.
soon as the weather conditions are right, they'll just go mad. I mean, look at them; they're looking really good at the moment. I'm hoping though that because I planted them out so late, I'm going to have a crop. So we'll
A
see.
late
We'll
crop.
see. It'll always be a late crop with butternut. We can only take them off around about October time, maybe even November.
Isn't that starting to get really cold then?
It does, but that's where you sort of they don't really mind. You've got to so long as you get them before the frosts, then you're all right. And then I've got some sprouts here.
Just a question. What about plastic, sort of like sheets as tunnels to cover it against that frost when it does come?
Oh, I've got them everywhere. Even in the tunnel, even inside the tunnel,
Oh
it
wow.
just gets so that it's not worth it. You grow what you can when you can, and then you grow other crops that are frost tolerant over those periods. So I put a lot of like things like brassicas in. Sprouts are okay; they withstand the frost. Um, broad beans, onions you can put in. Um, any of your brassicas really. So cabbages, cauliflowers, that sort of thing can go in the ground, and we can overwinter those. Garlic. In fact, garlic does really well here because the cold and frost actually break up both. So that's
What
what
does it
gives
do?
it the segmented. Otherwise, you'll get one whole sort of big clove.
Oh wow.
When you plant your garlic, so
Hmm.
you get a garlic bulb and you break it up into cloves.
Hmm.
That's what actually the cold is what actually breaks it up into the cloves, into the individual
Wow,
cloves.
that's interesting.
If you don't have that cold, you don't get cloves. You just get like an onion looking thing. Because it is part of the onion family.
Wow, that's interesting.
And then here is my fennel I'm leaving to go to seed. I want to get it out actually. I might just take some of it out because I need the space in the back and just leave a few in for seed. It takes living ages for seed.
Wow, they look good.
And then at the back here, let me show you my currant bushes first. So there's some rhubarb. I've got another patch of it as well. So there's my rhubarb.
Oh, that's delicious. They
I've
make
got
rhubarb pie in America.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, don't trust me. I've made rhubarb crumbles and put them in the freezer. But I've just made them into like two people portions so that I can just take one out of the freezer at a time. Otherwise, what ends up happening, you end up with a rhubarb crumble every single night of the year. Like that. Otherwise, it'll look like a house. So then at the back of that, I've got some. Those are red currants. That's a red currant bush. Obviously, they're cropped, so I don't have any red currants on them. But it's still a small plant. I only planted that last year. So
And you don't have any mulberries or anything like that? Sure,
no,
I
we don't
thought those were.
have mulberries, but I'll show you what we do. We can't grow mulberries because they don't grow.
Oh wow,
I've got three black currant bushes.
nice. That's
So
another interesting. There are a lot of that type of plant that come in like blueberries and those are black currants.
there's a black currant. Yeah.
Wow.
But the pigeons have been having a right go in here. I haven't covered them this year because I've got virtually a freezer. I've got loads in the freezer still from last year, so I didn't really need any for this year. I'm not throwing the ones I've got away because I only use them for making jam anyway. I'd use a few of them in cheesecakes and things like that, but there's only so much cheesecake you can eat.
I don't know about that.
More lavender.
Love it. Yeah.
This is some sort of creeper, like a honeysuckle or something like that. But it's
You know
not
that
done. I've transplanted it twice already, and I'm just looking to get it to grow. And more nasturtium down here.
that reddish color in the ends of the leaves?
Yeah.
It looks like a Suriname cherry, which grows like wildfire, and they grow them as hedges in our climate. It's got they've got those like dark green and reddish tints to the leaves, and then they grow that. It's like a cherry around a big central pip, round pip. And I used to make,
That's a grated cherry, like a wild
yeah, yeah.
cherry.
It's got like
No, this isn't that. This is definitely I should have a tag on it. Gone. I got it. I bought this. This is from the shop.
oh okay.
It's honeysuckle or something like that. I think it's
Oh,
honeysuckle actually. But I
yeah, no,
couldn't
I,
spot
I, I know it's not a Suriname cherry, but I was just
Yeah,
saying it
yeah.
just reminds me of that.
Those leaves aren't doing very. Those are actually not very good leaves. You can see the new growth here. So I'm just hoping because I've transplanted twice already. Everything that's looking alright. Oh, I'll show you my new trees. I've got a cherry here. That's a baby.
Nice.
So I put that in the beginning towards the end of last year. So that's doing alright. I've got a pear here.
Nice.
And then here is what we call cobnut, but it's very similar to a hazelnut.
Yeah, I don't know. Does your
Moving on, because look at this. Look at this. Can you see those caterpillars on
it looks like it's dying or what?
No, can you see the caterpillars?
Oh, like crazy.
There's
Yeah.
caterpillars on there. But I noticed that was happening this year. So I don't know what. I'm suspecting that that's just something they like that this particular plant. We'll see what happens. But
Wow.
yeah, can't, yeah. When it starts to fruit this year, I'm gonna have to cover it because squirrels around here just go mad over it, over cobnuts. They just harvesting that there's no tomorrow. Right, so over here we've got raspberries. You see?
Nice.
You go back around this way.
In America they have blueberries that I was telling you about, and raspberries, and
I've
I
got
think,
more nasturtiums here. Trying to get it to trail up this thing, but it's not. Doesn't seem to be happening. So I've got a whole trellis here of raspberries.
okay,
Raspberries.
nice.
They always do really well. And then this whole trellis here, apart from the little plants that are of raspberries, is blackberries.
Nice.
So just it's very similar to a mulberry.
Wow.
But normally they're full of thorns. They turn them brambles in this country. People mostly just chop them out. But this has actually got no thorns. It's a thornless variety.
Nice.
So when this starts to fruit, because this is not edible at the moment. This is still just growing fruit. But those are really delicious, and you can make jam with those, put them in pies and all sorts of things. There's my other apple tree.
That's growing well.
Another brambles on the other side. Too many apples. Here's my carrots.
So you cover them? Why?
Cover them because of the carrot fly.
Oh, okay.
So the problem with carrots is bloody in this country. If you don't cover them, you get. Just trying to see if I can find something that are relatively all right size-wise. See, that's still growing.
Yeah, don't be pulling things out if they're not ready.
Yeah, I just want to show you another one. I've got two varieties in here. I've got some autumn king, which grow quite big, and I've also got some smaller ones, which I can't remember the name of them. Chantenay, I think they are, which is more of a quick growing variety. So they're not as big, but they quite a lot of flavour.
Nice.
Anyway, so that's I've just put them in a raised bed this year. You can see. So
That'll give
that's
them more depth to grow into.
well, they should have enough depth because I've got my soil here is really soft. It's very silty. It's not very clayified, so they should be all right. You can see on the ends how deep down the roots was going.
Yeah,
The
they look
actual
comfortable.
carrots have eventually filled out all along that root.
Yeah.
So that's enough, but you don't want much bigger than that.
No.
Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, I've got in another raised bed on the other side. I've got some crab eye beans. We call them, sampan beans.
Yeah.
These are the beans that you eat in Africa that goes with sam.
The
So
spotty coloured beans.
yeah, brown spotty ones. So I'm
Yeah.
just growing a load of those this year. So I'm just waiting for those now. And then what I'll do is I'll dry them out and pod them so that I've got beans.
You know, when
And you
when
can
I was
literally go into any shop, buy a bag of these beans, and they'll grow. That's what
yeah,
I did. I went into one of the African shops here in Nottingham and just got a bag of the beans and just planted them.
I used to like told you years ago, is I used to go and plant those with the Zulu chief down at our store, and then we would take them all out and put them on a big rock and thresh them, actually hit them to get the
Right.
beans to fall
Yeah.
out, and
Did
then
you put them
take
to
all the
actually dry off on the plant?
sorry.
Did you wait for them to dry off on the plant?
Yeah, we'd put them there and leave them to dry out just on this big rock in the middle of the
Yeah.
dry area. Then
Yeah.
we would hit them with a stick, and all the beans would fall to the bottom. And then we'd take all of the sticks and twigs and everything, and all of that away. And then when the wind blew, we'd just throw it up in the air, and the wind would blow all of the bits and pieces away, and all we'd have is beans. And then the beans would have bits of stones and other things in them, and the woman would sit with them on the like a flat rock or flat ground or whatever in front of them, and then they would just sort out the beans and throw
Yeah.
away the stones and then put them into packets so that they're
Yeah.
ready for the next season. Paper packets we used to use.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I suppose you could go one step further and not have them on any stony ground, so that could eliminate that process of having to
Yeah,
pick them out.
if there's a lot of them, actually breaking open each pod and trying to get the seeds out, that's just too much hard work. So just letting them dry out and then just thresh them. It
Yeah.
just like everything for the beans are heavier, so they fall to the bottom, and then you just take all of that other stuff and throw it away. Um,
Yeah. That sounds really. Well, I'll try that with these ones because the first year I've grown them, so I'll see what happens.
yeah,
The Jamaicans that have got plots here, they grow them. They grow these types of beans as well. Here's another rhubarb patch.
well, I love the big leaves. It just makes me so happy. It's actually an interesting concept. Is some plants growing in the African area where we are in the tropical or subtropical climate is that, like for example, if we grow an avo inside the window in like on the windowsill, it'll grow these big leaves. But then you transplant it, and all of the big leaves die, and new smaller leaves come out because it's just like too much
Yeah, you know
sunlight.
what that is? No, what that is transplant shock. That happens with you got to be careful because when you put it, let's say you grow something on your windowsill, it's completely different conditions to when you put it
Oh
outside.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what you need to do is you need to slowly acclimatize it to the outside and harden it off. Uh, so, like for instance, you've grown it on the windowsill, now you want to plant it out. So what you do is you just say for a few hours a day, take it out, leave it outside, bring it back in, and then the following day, a few hours a day, and do that for over days. It just starts to increase the time, and then you'll find that when you do transplant it, you try and transplant the whole block. So if you've got it in soil and inside, if you don't, you just normally do it in water.
Water, yeah.
Yeah, that as well might be a problem. So I think once you can see it starting to root, I would put it into soil and take some of your outside soil where you're going to be actually growing it, and
So it gets
plant it
used to it.
into a pot. Leave it inside, let it carry on growing inside, and then just acclimatize it outside each day. And then when you want to put it in the actual ground, dig a hole, take the whole block of soil out of your pot, and put that in the ground and cover it over. And then
Okay.
you should be fine, but we shouldn't lose any leaves. It should be okay. We need to, it's like with anything, you need to acclimatize it. So this is my onion crop,
Wow.
or some of the crops, about half my onion crop. This is just,
Wow.
I'm just leaving these here to dry now. So once these are dry, I'll chop them off there and then leave them to dry further, and then those will store over, for over winter.
Wow.
I don't have to buy onions.
Wow.
Here, I've got
Apples on the floor.
which are not ripe yet. So they're just go in the compost. Gooseberry.
Nice.
1, 2 gooseberries. And there's my, what do you call it? Blueberry.
Wow.
That's a blueberry.
Wow. That's pretty. Can you just hold on for a second? I just
Yeah, sure.
need to go and... I'm sorry about that. If you'd like to carry on where you left off, it's getting really, really cold here.
Oh, right.
And
Look.
it's moved from daytime to afternoon time, so it's starting to get pretty chilly.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
You
Oh, sorry. I can't hear you. Okay.
I mean mild.
What's that?
You're lucky you've got mild winters there. Bloody freezing here. 6 months of the year, not even can barely go outside. It's so horrible. I hate it.
Yeah, but
They're cute, eh? Little fishes.
I just can't handle the cold. It's like
I hate it. I absolutely hate the cold. But that's when I'm going to paint. I'm going to just stay in there, put the central heating on, and I'm just going to be just doing loads of painting.
is that at home?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I've got some leeks here going to seed. So I'll be able to collect my leek seeds. I've got some parsley that's going to seed here. So I'll collect seeds off that. This is another herb called borage. Let you know that this is also good for loads of different things, but generally speaking, the flowers they use in gin, if you use gin and tonic, and then they'll put little flowers, those little star flowers, they call them.
Nice.
Star flowers.
Nice.
So the gin and tonics. And some people sugar them as well. Right, my battery's about to die. So I just managed to get around the whole entire plot before my battery dies.
Well, thank you. That was awesome.
That's a pleasure. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And
Wow.
that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and that's my love of my life. That is this allotment. I tell you.
Wow. How much work you've put in is absolutely amazing.
And it's every day. I've come down here virtually every day. Maybe not for long, maybe only a couple of hours, but I'm here virtually every day.
Yeah, but I mean, once you've done the bulk of the work,
Yeah.
at the beginning of a season, it's pretty much just like a maintenance and then reaping
Exactly.
and everything.
But to get it to this point was years of work, literally years of work. But it's the process. Like we've always said, it's always about the process and not the end result.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about it so much. It's the actual changeability of the whole thing. I mean, I can move my beds around, I can plant different things in different beds, I can do experiments, I can put in new, more exotic varieties of things and just experiment all the time. It's so fantastic, so changeable. It's not the same old thing all the time. But honestly, it's if you can get the opportunity of trying to do something like this, I promise you, from a mental health point of view, it's done me absolute wonders. And Phil, because he's a very, very severe depressive. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've got to pull some action to come down here. I've got to say, right, that's it. You're not sitting here anymore, coming down the allotment. And it makes such a difference to his state of mind. So it really does. I mean, just to be in this environment is just unbelievable. And even though you'd never say we're in the middle of a city,
Wow.
would you?
What
I mean, look
city?
at the trees there in the background. That's the old brewery out there. In fact, this allotment site was bequeathed by the owner of that brewery once upon a time, about 100
Wow.
years ago. The allotment site's about 100 years old.
The question is the what city is it?
Nottingham.
Oh, so there used to be a forest there, huh?
Website. If you want to have a look at the website, it's Whitemore Garden Holders Association. The website is whitemoreallotments.org.
Can you just send me
Allotments, one.
that link?
Yeah, I will do.
Because
I'll send
I
it
won't
now. I'm going to
remember it.
go. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up not having any phone at all. It's gonna go dead.
Okay.
Got like something like 2% left or something.
All right. Well, you look after that. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's a
And
pleasure. So I'll try and send you that link before it all goes dead.
all right. All right. Thanks a lot.
Bye for now.
Bye. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.